Well, Scott, why don't we start off by, I'll get you to introduce yourself. Tell me your
Sure.
name and your role with Cisco.
Sure. So my name is Scott Puopolo, and I'm the Vice President and Global Head of Cisco's Captive Strategy Consulting Group. It's called the Internet Business Solutions Group.
With respect to what you talked about this morning about turning a network into the platform, so tell me a little bit about that. It's an interesting paradigm. We talked about the end user being very central to that paradigm, and about the fact that the platform now becomes a very unifying capability for how people consume content and apps. So tell me a bit about this new paradigm.
Sure. So to start with, the key element here is the concept that consumers, businesses need access to information, applications, communication, and collaboration, frankly, anywhere. And in order to do that, the network becomes a central or unifying theme. And when we talk about the network as the platform, that the capabilities that are provided through the network that actually enable that vision, that anytime, anywhere access to content. And it can be anything from the ability to do proximity, to intelligence on where to deliver and how to deliver content, how to deliver bits in a way that is seamless and transparent to the end customer. And that there are capabilities that the network provides that can enable these other services, or the services layer, to deliver regardless of location, regardless of access method, regardless of end device.
Right. And so I think what's very different about this paradigm is the fact that the end user is now very central to it. And that may not have been the case in the past, I think.
Absolutely. Well, part of the baseline of this is really this concept of the consumerization of IT. The consumer themselves, I think, has developed certain expectations and has certain desire. We have within Cisco and my organization, we publish regularly something called the Connected Life Market Watch, and we track users' attitudes and behaviors in the use of technology and the use of video. And one of the interesting themes has been this concern or this interest and expectation of the ubiquity of content and applications.
Right. Speaking of the ubiquity of content and apps, I guess that leads us into this whole idea of everything as a service, and how people are now more expecting that certain content and apps will be very readily available to them.
Absolutely, and it manifests itself, I think, in a number of ways. If you're a business, clearly from an enterprise standpoint, the focus of anything as a service is really about business agility. A lot of the complexity in any large-scale organizational transformation is the complexity of linking process change with technology change. In an everything as a service environment, what we see is that the IT actually becomes an easier element for the transformation. IT capacity and capability can increase and change as the needs provide, and so you're not hamstrung, if you will, by building and having to manage as much legacy, and that's the long-term vision. On the consumer side, there's an interesting dimension to this as well, which I think is applicable to media companies, and that is their interest in this kind of access. And the consumerization, again, as I mentioned, consumerization of IT, their ability to consume applications in a very similar way. And again, as we look at, we did a survey recently looking at small businesses. What's interesting today is that small businesses themselves are already using a lot of subscription-based services, but aren't even aware of it. So there's a paradigm shift in terms of attitude and perception. So the concept of cloud is something that the IT executive clearly thinks about, but the end consumer utilizing doesn't necessarily care as long as it's transparent and as long as they feel that they're getting the services that they're looking for.